None of us really know. None of us really know.
I know.
No, I know. Perfect timing, Keith.
Keith, what's up?
Your favorite movie of all time. F9.
Oh, good.
How is there any other choice than Remember the Titans being number one?
I'm curious.
I'm spoiling mine, but
Well, let's see. Here we go. Yeah, that's a good, good
I'm
question,
not even
Brian.
done talking.
you shouldn't be talking at this point.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back. It is Apocaflix Movies and our weekly hangout show here called Apocaflix Now. Thank you so much for joining us. It is Tuesday, and this is our movie hangout show here on the channel where we talk everything that is film, current, past, future, which is the main topic of tonight, talking about stuff that is headed our way here for the rest of the year, being that Thursday, I believe it is, marks the official end of the first half of 2022, if that is hard to believe. It is almost July, everybody, which is incredibly crazy to think about. But we're here. We're excited. We're ready to talk some movies. And I'm here with Mr. Brian Ablicino. What is up, man? How you doing?
I am a chillin'. Today's the first day in like 3 days I haven't watched a movie I haven't ever seen before. But there's still time.
Wait. So you watched
last
a brand new movie for the past 4 days?
3 days, I think, yeah.
3 days. Okay.
So, yeah, one of them being the movie that I got challenged to.
Yeah, which we're going to get to here in just a sec. We're going to hear Brian's thoughts on A League of Their Own, which is a movie that's one of the best challenges we've had in quite a while. And was a challenge that was also made by myself, which, has a part in that, obviously. So, it's not just us two tonight, though. Usually there's three of us, and he's here, but he's incredibly fashionably late and didn't make the intro of the show. And
Emphasis on the fashionably. Emphasis on the fashionably.
What's up, dude?
Man, what's going on, guys? It's really good to see you guys, and it's really good to be here. It's been a poopy last 2 work days, and all is good now. I'm with my buddies. Got the Jack, and I don't even know how much Jack is in here, but whatever. It's party time. Come on, Brian. Hey, what's in there? Don't lie. It's all scotch, huh?
The whole way. But yeah,
Brian might be drinking scotch next month, which will be very exciting.
Oh shit.
I should have came and visited you after work or after the movie 2 days ago. I went and saw Lightyear at Doco. I didn't even think about it.
Bro,
I honestly forget
4
how
blocks away.
I know. I honestly forget how close you are to the literal movie theater. It's like you could stand on the second floor and hit it with a rock.
Right, man. But movie theaters aren't a bad idea. First off, there's a lot of good movies, but second, escape the damn heat wave, man. We're dying up here in Northern California. Everywhere. Record temperatures, but man, I say this every summer. I am not ready for it at all.
Well, it's supposed to not be 100 tomorrow for the first time in 7 days. So, woohoo, 92. I'll take it.
92 is going to feel like a cool breeze. It's going to feel like a cool breeze.
My poor air conditioning is probably going to be like, oh, thank God.
So look, it's a very self-explanatory show tonight. If you see the title, we're going to be talking about the movies that are headed our way for the rest of the year. There's a large chunk of them, both small, big blockbuster, and anything in between. Originally, I was going to have us rank them, but I figured, you know what? Why not change the game and kind of open the conversation up a little bit and kind of go month by month and see what's headed our way for the next 6 months. July, August, September, October, November, December. We'll run through the biggest releases that are headed our way, maybe some of the ones that may catch our eye a little bit. And
not to mention, right before this, Jake literally named 7 of my top 10 in a matter of.
Because there really is only two handfuls, maybe just over that, get marketed like crazy as major releases, and that's typically what we're going to talk about. So more than likely, our 10 would have been extremely similar. So it wouldn't have made that much of a difference. So let's just. I want to open the conversation up once we get there and kind of just have a fun back and forth about all these movies that are headed our way and break them all down. But before we get to that, as the show does every single week, we start here with a little thing called the Movie Watching Challenge. That was the worst thing I have ever heard.
Did you hear my voice go out?
That was so terrible.
I went to do it, and my voice like did the whole puberty.
You're like the unofficial theme of Movie Watching Challenge, and that was
my voice did not want to do it that time.
That was absolutely horrible.
That was lackluster, to say the least.
If you haven't seen the show before, thank you so much for joining us. But the show is very easy to get around. We challenge each other to watch movies. Movies we've never seen before. And last week, Brian was challenged to one of the movies that has been around the ringer quite a bit here as far as challenge picks on this side of the table. And that is A League of Their Own. Brian officially, finally watched A League of Their Own. And he is going to talk about it right now. So, Brian, what did you think about this legendary sports film?
I have a hot take on this.
Oh, God, here we go.
How is this movie not in the conversation as the best sports movie of all time?
It is.
Okay, because I feel like
that's not a hot take.
Okay, in the intro of our Apocaflix, I yell at Jacob for picking Remember the Titans. I do not remember in that episode this movie being on,
because that was a football based show.
Was it just football? No,
that was just football. It was just football.
Okay, because I immediately thought of that episode of Apocaflix Now and was like, how did this movie not get thrown out there? That would make sense.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, this movie is everything I hope for and more. This might be, I've been going back and forth whether or not this has been my favorite movie I've been challenged to, between this and Breakfast Club. Those two, I was hooked immediately. Every character in this movie is perfect. Even though Gina Davis, the main character, is kind of unlikable. Like, in my opinion.
Really?
I found her kind of like,
it's just the older sister vibe, I guess. That's why.
I don't know. She wasn't warm, to say the least, I think.
Well, she didn't want to be there. She was only doing it just to do it. Like, she was more focused on eventually having it. Like, she kept saying it throughout the film. I'm just waiting for my husband to get back. We're going to have a family, we're going to have a family. So,
and for her sister too.
Yeah, exactly. And she's obviously being very overprotective of Kit. And that, I guess, for many viewers, because Kit's the much more, sensitive type, we grow more towards her because she's not being as harsh as Gina Davis's character. So I get what you're saying, Brian. I get it.
Yeah, I did. It's funny because
did you know anything about this, by the way, before you watch it? Did you know anything about the women's baseball league? Anything?
I knew.
Did you know anything about the actual historical events of all this? Okay, that's cool.
I literally knew that it was. I didn't know it was a real thing.
So, 100% it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I actually, after watching the movie, went on Wikipedia and a bunch of other sites, looking it up. Cause I was like, this can't be real. Like, how have I not heard about this? And then
it's gotta be one of the most accurate sports stories we've ever seen. As far as on screen goes.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. And most of it is pretty true to the history. I mean, obviously they have creative liberties a little bit, but yeah, I was blown away how much I loved it. There were times where I was legitimately laughing my butt off. Madonna is hilarious in it.
She's so good in this. She's
Rosie
so good in this.
Rosie O'Donnell is perfect as well. Literally, the whole cast in general it's the best part of the whole movie because they are just so good.
Tom Hanks. Haven't mentioned Tom Hanks once.
Oh, that's yeah.
Jimmy
Tom Hanks,
Dugan.
it's so funny though. He obviously has played many of characters in movies. It's funny because I just kept hearing like Woody's voice a lot of the time because like Woody has this like when he gets like all
angry
like
old
riled
man.
up, it's like rah, 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 and that's exactly how he would act. So like it made it that much funnier to me because it's just like I just heard it. I wanted to like that kid Stillwell, I think his name was
Stillwell, yeah.
Stillwell. Like
The chocolate was it the chocolate bar? Right?
Yeah. There's so many times I just like was hoping someone would just like push him into the dugout because he's just standing up on the top being annoying.
I'm pretty sure Tom Hanks threw something at him and got
yeah,
him
he
in the
does.
face.
He
throws a baseball. Or he
No,
throws
a glove.
a glove, and it hits him in the head. That's right.
Yeah.
And he tips over. Yeah.
Yeah. I was just waiting for him to walk by him and just literally just shove him into the dugout and fall.
Yeah.
It's so funny because like when they did the who's all in the movie at the beginning of the movie, obviously, and I saw Bill Pullman's name go up, and I was like, "Oh, cool, Bill Pullman's in it." Completely forgot he was in it, and so when the like husband pulls up, I was like, "Oh, look, it's Bill Pullman!" And I'm like, "Wait, it literally says it right in the beginning." Like I already forgot about that. How this movie only has 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, I will never figure out.
I think we.
I know.
Yeah, I think we talked about it last week when you were challenged to it, Brian. Is that if this was released today, it would obliterate.
Well, I think
like
that's what
absolutely
to
just.
Do.
And I know that it's like great timing, and Nussbaum mentioned in the chat, but the Amazon Prime series is very, very close. If the movie were to come out today, it would be received even better. And it's already considered, like many people consider it their favorite baseball movie ever made. And to think that it would even do better than that is pretty mind blowing.
I haven't actually, to be honest, now I think I haven't seen very many baseball movies. The only one that immediately comes to my mind is The Rookie.
I know, because I tried to do a baseball ranking and everybody was like, I haven't seen very many.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you guys.
Don't include me in that.
Gio, I'm including you in that.
Well, I will openly admit, like, I haven't seen, like, Field of Dreams, Outfield. I saw that. That boring one. That
Don't say Moneyball.
No. Oh, I've seen Moneyball. I like Moneyball.
Okay.
The Natural?
That's in your Untouchable DVDs. That what you had. I'm trying to blank at the name.
Hardball?
No. Fever Pitch is great in this one.
Sandlot?
Bull Durham.
Oh my God, Bull Durham is not boring.
Oh,
it is not boring.
So boring.
Bull Durham is one of the greatest. You know what, Brian? Just stop now. Just stop. You're gonna get me all mad. You're gonna get me all mad.
But what I was going for is this is easily my favorite baseball movie that I've seen. I haven't seen Major League either, Gordon.
Yeah, Gordon, he has not seen
us-
Major League.
Yeah, Major League is great.
Well, and Major League is, it's a very, I know we're talking about League of Their Own, but I was going to bring it back to that. Major League is it's a comedic look at baseball, which is still very true in senses for that film. Whereas this is almost, in a way, the very serious side of it all, obviously, because the only reason that this all happened is because all men were drafted for the war. Yeah. It's the only reason that women started playing baseball, or professionally anyway, is because men left and there was and baseball then, and it still is to me, I know it's not to anybody, but it still is America's pastime, even more so then. So they needed baseball, and the only option was women. But little did everybody know, there were some incredible women baseball players, like bonkers good, who crushed all over the place. Yeah,
it was honestly like one of my, like I said, between this and Breakfast Club are my favorite challenges, I think, easily.
Love that.
The fact that Hans Zimmer also did the soundtrack, the music for this.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, because his name popped up, and I went, "Really? Like that's one that you don't like immediately."
Hans Zimmer's filmography, if you go back and look, it's very weird.
Yeah,
It's very, very weird.
I immediately was like, "Okay, that was not a name I expected to see anywhere near this movie." Yeah, it was like I want to watch it again. It's funny though, because I was sitting here like, obviously it's one of those movies to me that it was so good that like you don't want to see like remade. At the same time, like I kind of just sat there going like, it would be really funny to like pick famous actresses right now and just like insert them in the like exact role and recreate it. Like I was sitting there like thinking like, who are some of these like big actresses that you could think of that would like play these roles? Let's say if this movie was made right now with exactly the same script, like who would you put as these characters? Like who would
Charlize
you have
Theron
as who?
As Dottie?
As Dottie, yeah.
Dottie?
That makes sense.
Charlize Theron as Dottie and Anya Taylor-Joy as Kit.
I was
Because
gonna
she's
say
playing Furiosa. Get it?
Okay,
Get
okay.
it?
yeah.
I was trying to think
I
of
was gonna say Florence Pugh, but
I was trying to think of who would play not Lady Gaga. I saw
Lady
it, that's why
Gaga
I'm saying
would,
it.
obviously.
I was trying to think of who would play Madonna's character.
It would obviously be Lady Gaga. Lady
Lady
Gaga.
Gaga.
Now, I
obviously.
immediately went to Margot Robbie for it.
Well, I'm keeping it with the singer vibe.
Yeah. It's just like it. Yeah, it
Go
was
ahead,
just
Brian, go ahead.
it was funny just because like I was sitting there just kind of like the fun of it, just thinking like updating it, like who would be each player. Also, my favorite person was Marla. She.
First of all, she's an absolute beast.
She is.
Second of
so
all, when she starts singing on
funny.
stage, wow.
I love Marla. That it was just so funny how she just like the dad's like, I thought she was gonna be a boy, so I raised just like this way. It was just I loved it. It was a really, really good movie. Really good movie.
See, I don't ever want to see it and I know we have to move on because we are running a little long on this, but I don't think I ever want to see the movie remade. One, because it's a Penny Marshall film. I think that this movie should never be touched as far as a film. But if you're ever going to do it, a series is the perfect version of it. To remake it into something completely different than it is, you don't have to have the same characters. You can have the same teams. But we know that it ran a limited time because obviously men eventually came back from the war. You do 3-4 seasons on each season. Boom, you're in the book. You have a League of Their Own series. And Prime personally is like, they do TV series better than most people. It is 100% the best home for this type of series. And I know we got a very short teaser for it, but whatever it looks like I'm excited to see it because I'm very intrigued about learning more about women playing professional baseball. The movie only touched so much. Over 3-4 seasons, you can touch a lot of different stuff.
Yeah. I think before we move on, the one thing that I didn't realize, because like I said, I knew nothing going into this other than it was women playing baseball. I did not realize that there like is a massive his movie debate of whether or not she dropped the ball on purpose or not. Like
it's like Han Solo. It's 100% like Han Solo.
I did not, because
that's what I was gonna ask.
She dropped it on purpose.
I think so too.
I think so too.
100%.
It's funny because like someone that is like around, I'm not the most well versed in movies clearly by seeing, but like I know of famous things in movies. Like that was like the first thing that popped up when I searched like A League of Their Own, because I was looking up something and it was like, did she drop the ball on purpose and stuff? And I was like, how did I not ever hear about this as like it's one of those like, could Jack have fit on the Titanic's door? Like one of those.
It's Dottie's kind of like reaction / response afterwards when Kit's being lifted up by the team. The way she looks on to me sells like 100% she did that on purpose for Kit. So
yeah, I like I said, I tend to lean towards she dropped it on purpose just because of the way it kind of like played out. But yeah, it was fun to know like how this is some big movie controversy thing that I'd never even heard of until watching it. But yeah, I'm very excited to watch. I haven't even seen the trailer yet for the show.
It's like a 30-second montage teaser. It's nothing like crazy. The official trailer hasn't really been released yet, but it looks, as far as like the setting and everything, the outfits and all that, it looks spot on. So I'm super excited for it. All right, Brian. Well, the next part of this is you get to challenge someone, and I've been told it's a little bit of a wrinkle from here in the movie watching challenge. Why don't you go ahead and drop said bomb to us and the viewers? What I guess what is the challenge? Who are you challenging, and what is this wrinkle?
So I was hoping Keith would be here because that's who I'm challenging. And I'm going to do something completely different. Now, we've gotten to the point where your old friend Brian has basically seen like none of the movies that are left to be challenged by anyone on Apocaflix. So I went to my old teacher way and decided to do a wheel of names, if you will.
Oh my God.
That's what it's called. This happens to be the list that one Keith Barnes has. And I have not seen any of these movies. So we are going to let fate decide. And
I love
I'm
it.
going to click it, and it's going to pop up and tell us what Keith is going to watch.
Can we put bets? What's the bet?
I mean, there's like 30 something of them, so go for it if you want. By the way, actually, I have seen Black Swan, but I was like, I don't feel like picking that one.
It's gonna land on yellow.
Okay, so he's seen Rush, so we got to keep that in mind. He watched that last time. I think I'm gonna take a chance and say it lands on The Color of Money.
I'm gonna go with The Visit. I don't know what that is, but it just looks like it's gonna.
It's an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Oh.
And I'm gonna take Punch Drunk Love.
I almost went that one. Okay. All right, Brian, go for it.
All right.
Color of Money. Color of Money.
This is
Color of
what I
Money.
do
Color of Money.
This is what I do for my kids when I can't pick on them.
What the hell is Double Anemone? The hell is that?
Wait, that
Not
was
even a
just the
movie?
warm up. Let's just do it again.
Wait, what is Double Indemnity? What is that?
Indemnity?
I gotta look this up.
Let's look.
Everybody
Double
Google Double Indemnity.
It's a 1994. No, 1944.
No, it's a 1944 movie. What? It's a classic film noir. Okay, I'm game.
Okay. So
that is by far the oldest film that has ever been challenged.
I know.
Look at Con. Of course you know, Con. Of course
Good.
you know.
I have no idea.
How do you guys know this and we don't? What the hell?
Wow, everyone knows, man.
Well,
Maybe we need to do a watch along.
We're a bunch of losers. Why are we doing this show?
Clearly, it is good because a lot of people do it or knew it already. And, it has a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. So,
all right, well there it is. Keith, that is the movie you'll be watching, my good sir. If you're watching now, boom, there you go. I'm sure he'll pop in a little bit later on the show if he's not too busy, and you'll be able to see his review next week. So, with that said, let's go ahead and dive into the rest of 2022, gentlemen. We have a lot of movies coming out the rest of the year. A lot of cool movies, a lot of different movies as well. Some movies that obviously could be pretty much great, to movies that may have questions, to movies that have a lot of mystery around them. So let's just start. I think the way that we're going to do this is maybe go month by month and talk about the biggest movies of that month. It's just the easiest. I'll make sure to kind of keep track of time. That way we don't spend too much time on one movie. That way we have enough time for everything else. But obviously, so let's see. This weekend, which is July 1st, so it's officially the beginning of the second half of the year, we have Minions: The Rise of Gru, which is the another animated Minions film. I don't know if there's much to say about it. It's coming out. Not sure any of us are really going to go see it in theaters or not. Does anybody have any thoughts on that before we move on?
I'll wait for it to be on streaming.
Yeah, I think so too. So that leaves the next big movie to come out, which is the first major movie of the second half of the year, is Thor: Love and Thunder. Thor: Love and Thunder comes out next week. We have tickets. We'll be watching it Thursday night. You'll be able to see an early review from us that night outside the theater, and then we'll talk about it the following show. We don't have to spend too much time on it because I'm sure we'll do a preview episode maybe a little bit next week. And then obviously it's been talked about enough on the show kind of leading up to it. But let's open up the conversation here about maybe some things that we're looking forward to, maybe a few things that maybe have us questioning it, and just overall thoughts on the movie going into it. Floor is open, gentlemen. Whoever wants to start.
This is just Thor.
Thor: Love and Thunder.
I mean, I freaking can't wait. This is, I'll say this, for the movies the rest of the year, this is my number one if we were ranking.
Overall,
the rest of the year. Yeah.
Well, take the floor, man.
I mean, it just, what your director is like batting 1,000. Like, what?
I mean,
was
he
the
is.
last-
You're right. He is.
What is the last thing he did that's bad? So, like, that's nice
Nothing.
going into it. The variety cast that's going on in it, with it's like you have the Guardians, you have the classic Thor people. Literally, you have Jane, who you never thought you'd see again. You have isn't Lady Sif supposedly in this?
Lady Sif is in the movie as well.
Yeah, so you've got older characters that are coming back. You have Christian mother effing Bale as your villain, and I don't give a crap that he doesn't look like the comic book character because
He looks so good.
You don't put alien makeup and make him unrecognizable when you got Christian Bale as your main villain. Sorry, I don't care.
There's nothing wrong with adapting the character the way they did for the movie. Like Brian said, you have someone like Christian Bale. Obviously, you're going to make sure he's recognizable. There's two real big reasons why I'm looking forward to this. One is Christian Bale, and two is Natalie Portman. Like, obviously, like Thor, and I luckily we've already seen the early reviews, which a movie that's had a premiere this far out usually is a really good sign. It's a really, really good sign if it's this far out. But bringing her back and bringing the story in that they're telling with Jane Foster, and if you don't know, in the comic books, the reason why she becomes Mighty Thor, or not the reason, but Jane Foster has cancer, and her being Thor kind of subdues that while she's Thor, while she's wielding the hammer. So I'm very intrigued on how they're going to bring her in. Obviously, after the snap and everything as well, everything with Zeus and the gods. Like, there's so many things to look forward to. And Brian mentioned it's Taika. It's Taika Waititi, and he can do no wrong at this point. Everything he touches pretty much turns to gold, whether he's starring or directing. And I just, there's so much to look forward to. The Thor franchise, for the most part, I mean, has picked up steam as it's gone on. I know you can kind of argue between 1 and 2, obviously, but when Taika stepped in for 3, and then his whole story just shifted after Ragnarok into Infinity War, Endgame, and now this, how can you not be excited for it? There's no way you can't be excited for it.
I mean, without Ragnarok and Taika, I think Thor would be a dead character at this point.
I don't know if he would have died.
Would be out.
Yeah, I think the character would have found his way out somehow. Yeah. I honestly, obviously we haven't seen Love and Thunder, but I see there being another movie after this. I really do.
Oh, me too.
I think the franchise has really capitalized on having Taika and the Chris Hemsworth team. And the addition of Valkyrie, bringing Natalie Portman back in. Like, there's just so many things to love and look forward to. I could see a lot more stories with this character going forward, for sure.
It's funny. It's, in my opinion, it's almost like his trilogy is starting at Ragnarok. Like, I would not be surprised if they give him another movie, and like you've got like the Taika trilogy essentially.
Well, quite honestly, Brian, I would almost say this is the start of a new trilogy. I think Ragnarok, Infinity War, and Endgame are a trilogy for him.
Yeah.
That story that he went through
totally
those 3 movies was very much a story trilogy for the character, and this almost looks like a completely different story from what we've gotten, obviously. But I mean, look, I don't know if Thor is one of your your most excited characters or whatever. But I know you're a big Valkyrie fan as well, and the addition of Jane. What are you thinking about this?
No, I love the female power in here, and you throw in Lady Sif, who I knew nothing about her being involved in this.
I love her, by the way. Jamie Alexander, I love her.
Yeah, totally. And for me, one thing that I'm very curious about is this will be the first Thor solo movie where, as of right now, I don't know anything, but Loki will not be involved at all.
Correct.
So what kind of Thor are we going to see? Obviously, in the trailers, he's kind of having a what do you call that? Return to form. He's working out again. He's loving himself again and just being positive and embracing
the strongest Avenger.
Yeah, that. I like that the Guardians will be involved. I would probably think up until the end of the first act. That's something that leaving Endgame, I wanted to see more of. Maybe not a whole movie, but the Asgardians of the galaxy, and of course Christian Bale. Like, I agree with you, Brian. Okay, like anybody who's being overly critical about the way a comic book character is adapted for the big screen, live action.
You know that well as a DC fan, right, Gia?
Yeah, no, totally. And I don't argue that at all. Whether it's DC, Marvel, or outside of that, like the boys, I don't subscribe to that. Now obviously there are iconic characters who mean so much on a cultural level that should remain the same, Black Panther and whatnot, but that's a different conversation. I am looking forward to this one. Jake, I don't remember, did I reserve a ticket or no?
I have one for you.
Okay, see, my boy got me.
You almost played a stupid game and got a stupid prize, but you're lucky he
I usually do.
I'm too nice of a guy because you don't effing respond to text messages.
I usually do the Disney Plus GIF, in there and whatnot. But yeah, thank you, buddy. I'm looking forward to this one.
You're welcome.
And I also want to see how this shakes the MCU, and what capacity.
Oh, Gio, I don't know if you watched Rewind last week, but I dropped something with Brian that could be very, very interesting.
So we're all going to have to go back to Rewind last week.
Afterwards.
Was it during the show or afterwards?
It was afterwards because
Okay, so anyway, I'm going to drop it here. Okay. So,
obviously, let me tell my part, and then I'll let you do it.
Okay.
What
was your part?
So, I had heard, I went Geo on this, and I heard a rumor that someone from Ted Lasso was being courted to play a character in the MCU.
Got it. Got it.
So there's three main ones. You have Ted Lasso. What is the main
Rory?
Name? No.
Oh God, I don't know. Just move on.
Okay. The manager and Brett Goldstein's Roy Kent.
Rory. Yeah. Roy.
Jason Sudeikis, Brett Goldstein, and
who does Juno Temple play?
Hang on, I gotta go down the list.
Is it Hannah? No. I'm trying.
She's not on there? What?
No, I don't see. What?
Go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
Anyways, so I had heard a rumor it was one of those three because it said someone that had one.
Keely.
No, not Keely.
Rebecca.
Thank you. God, that was going to annoy the hell out of me. So I had heard it was one of those three because it was someone that had just won an award. So then I was on just Instagram randomly, and it like every once in a while when you're doing the search, you get like random pop-ups of like this person's cast is blah blah blah, and it was Brett Goldstein, Roy Kent playing Hercules, who's been rumored to be coming in for a while, which I freaked out because that's who I wanted him over the three that were announced, to which then I told Jake, and Jake came up with this theory.
So obviously the movie is about Gore, the God Butcher, right? He kills gods. That's his whole entire goal. All right. Now I'm taking bits and pieces, and this could be considered, I guess, spoilers, because if I'm right, it's a spoiler. So I don't want to go too. If you guys don't want to listen, that's fine. I understand. But there's a scene in the trailer, where Valkyrie is holding Zeus's lightning bolt. Okay, she's wielding the lightning bolt up against Gore. Now, my idea is, what if by the end of the film, Gore has actually succeeded and killed all of the gods? Zeus, brothers, family members, relatives, whatever it may be. And at the end of the film or post-credit scene, right, after Gore is defeated by Valkyrie, Thor, Mighty Thor, right, they're the only 3 gods that remain. At the end of the film or the post-credit scene, Hercules is introduced, but he finds the remnants of the dead gods,
Olympia.
but he finds connection to Thor
Olympus.
being there, and we set up a Thor versus Hercules film where the two are going at one another, and Hercules is actually the only final Olympian god left after Gore kills them all. Just saying.
Which Hercules in the comics often
They have a fight.
Thor and Hulk, those
Yeah.
3 are quite often going against each other.
Just saying. It's very possible that the post-credit scene at the latest could introduce Hercules and set up a 5th Thor film that's essentially Thor versus Hercules, where Hercules is hunting him down, thinking he's the one who butchered all of the gods.
I would dig that.
All I need is
Man.
Brett Goldstein playing Hercules, because I'll
That'd be
scream.
wild. Wild.
Yeah, especially if they fight in the comics so much, you know.
Yeah, they butt heads a lot.
Hercules, Thor, and Hulk are constant.
And there's another
muscle
wrinkle to this,
fighting.
Bryant. There's another wrinkle to this that I didn't tell you about. In the comics, one of Hercules' most popular allies is Beta Ray Bill.
Mm.
No, I mean, and we could
Just
also
saying.
We could also say that maybe he's in the movie and we don't know, because that what people have been saying that someone was edited out in that one shot of it's like Thor, Korg, and a giant blank space.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see in 2 weeks.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
we've spent too much time on Thor. There's our thoughts on that. All right, so I'm going through this list, right? We have July 15th. A couple big movies are announced or are coming out, but nothing really that we're going to really talk about. We have Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank, and then Where Are the Crawdads Sing, which is a book adaptation. I'm looking forward to that movie as well.
I very much want to see this movie and I purposely didn't read the book because I wanted to read the movie or watch the movie first. And it's done by Reese Witherspoon's
Gabby's
company.
very excited for it. Yeah,
and it's done by Reese Witherspoon's company, who did Big Little Lies. And I am extremely excited for this movie. I think it looks fantastic.
Agreed. And then the following week, July 22nd. So it's kind of an iffy thing. So actually, July 15th, if you're lucky enough, The Gray Man actually hits theaters for a select week if you have the option to see it. But July 22nd is when it actually hits Netflix. So The Gray Man, directed by the Russo brothers, will be on Netflix. And then also Nope hits theaters that weekend, which is the new Jordan Peele film. Let's start with The Gray Man. This is a spy thriller, espionage action film. Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans, Ana de Armas, from not just the Russo brothers, but also written by the 2 gentlemen who wrote Captain America the Winter Soldier and Captain America Civil War and Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. Like, they wrote all 4 of those films. Okay?
What are their names?
Think of that.
Stephen
McFeely and Chris.
Yeah.
Chris.
McFeely and Chris. Yeah. Wow. But anyways, yeah, they're legit.
It's from the guys that did Winter Soldier, Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. They wrote it, and they obviously those were all directed by the Russo brothers. But also the cast. I mean, on top of Gosling, Chris Evans, and Ana de Armas, we have Reggae Jean Page, Billy Bob Thornton, Jessica Henwick, Alfred Woodard. Like, the cast is bonkers. We've seen the trailers. It's a big-time Netflix film. And last time we saw a big-time Netflix film just like this was Extraction with Chris Hemsworth, where it's kind of the same vibe, right?
And we know that's getting a sequel.
Yeah, and look, I'll start this off because it's very quick for me. This movie is made for me. Like, made for me. Not only is it the genre that is like one of my favorite genres, it's by 2 of my favorite working directors, and from the exact same team that made my all-time favorite MCU film, on top of Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame. Like, there's really nothing and has my favorite actress, Ana de Armas, and my favorite current working actor in Ryan Gosling. Like, there really
the only
isn't
thing that
anything
could have made this
that
movie better would be Henry Cavill. That's literally the only thing that I think I would have died if he was in it too.
I mean, yes, but at the same time, the cast is absolutely bonkers.
Oh
Like,
no, I'm just saying, like, it's unfathomable how the good actors that are in this already. Like,
I'm so looking forward to seeing Ana de Armas and Chris Evans after Knives Out, obviously in their relationship in that movie,
Right,
but also throwing Ryan Gosling in as the main gray man, the spy, the guy that does all the missions with the Russo brothers, like hand-to-hand combat style. I'm expecting the Winter Soldier outside of Marvel. Like, that's literally what I'm expecting, and I'm all for it. All for it.
I really hope she gets to like do some action like she did in Bond.
She's already getting her own film to do action, Brian.
I know, but I'm saying, like, she was like, when I saw that, I was like, I would like to see you kick some more butt, and this has you kicking more butt. I would like to see it.
I agree.
Correct me if I'm wrong, real quick. Ana de Armas is starring in the John Wick spinoff, right?
Ballerina.
Ballerina.
That's what I was talking about.
I get that one in No Time to Die confused.
The Russo brothers should direct that.
I thought, wait,
I mean, yeah.
you already said someone that you wanted to direct it, I thought. Oh, wait. No,
I'm sure there's a lot of people I could think of that.
No, I was thinking of, I don't know why. I was thinking of the guy that did Top Gun and took for Rogue One.
Oh, Joseph Kosinski. Yeah. No, Gio, you're right, man. I mean, this is a preview. This Bond is a preview for what Ana de Armas can do in that Ballerina film.
Right, and I didn't know that the writers are also on board. The same ones who did all of the Russo's MCU movies as well. They get, in my opinion, overly criticized.
Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely.
Thank you.
There you go.
Yes. Both of them. So anyways, yeah, the fact that they're both involved as well gives even more confidence. I love that Netflix is putting it out in theaters in a limited capacity. I think all the streaming service movies should have that, the ones that they spend a lot of money on. So yeah, I'm totally on board. It's Ryan Gosling versus Chris Evans.
I know.
I was going to say, do you think that they did that week so that way it qualifies for awards?
Well, I mean, that's the rule, yes, but I don't think this movie's going to be made for awards. I don't know if it'll get nominated. I mean, there's always an opportunity, obviously, but I think that Netflix, because of what's going on with them personally, they have to start putting these movies out in theaters to make some money. Like, at this point, they have no option. If they're going to make big, giant budget movies like Extraction, Red Notice, Zack Snyder's films, they have to put them in theaters on top of being in the service. Like, they have no choice, because otherwise they're going to go under as a company. Yeah. They're 100% going to go under as a company, and Netflix could evaporate as we know it in a heartbeat if they don't make more money. Mm-hmm. So, because they're making all these giant deals with directors and actors like Ryan Johnson. Ryan Johnson's films for the next however long are going straight to Netflix, right? Knives Out is a Netflix film.
$500 million.
Like, they have to put these movies out in theaters. They don't have a choice anymore.
Yeah. And it's the right move. It's, because what's a big criticism of streaming movies, right? I want to watch it on the big screen. Well, now you have the choice.
Yeah.
Personal preference, so.
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, give it a week to 2 weeks, especially if it's something this.
Honestly, I think I think they should do a 2-week window. I think 2 weeks is plenty of time to see, especially a movie like A Gray Man that has Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans, and Ana de Armas leading it. You put them on the poster, it's gonna make money.
Like, Henry Jackman is doing the music. Yes.
And that's even better. Yeah. He did the Winter Soldier. Like, there you go.
Henry Jackman, baby.
Like, it's literally the Winter Soldier outside of the MCU.
It's movies that like would be obvious. Like, this could have just been made for like a movie theater movie, like, in my opinion. So it's like a no-brainer. Like, why wouldn't you?
Well,
Plus, it's going to bring extra revenue.
It's given life back into the middle budget action flicks, of the 90s and early 2000s, pre the golden age of comic books. So, I love that this is happening, and it's a perfect hybrid for those who miss those type of movies. So, and
Agreed.
Jessica Henwick. Yeah, Jessica Henwick.
Jessica Henwick.
Yeah.
I love that. I hope we see more of her. She's a
She was
leading
great
lady
in,
that hasn't really got the major
Matrix.
opportunity yet.
Yeah.
She was great in The Matrix, but I would love to see her in a major leading role. But look at Ana de Armas. She kind of, same thing. So
It just financially makes sense because you have 3 people that are probably going to watch this movie in theaters and again on Netflix, and we're clearly not going to be the only people that do that. So you're doubling your cash flow.
You'll see a full spoiler discussion on the movie here, everybody. All right, same weekend, July 22nd. The next movie that comes out is Jordan Peele's Nope, a movie that we've seen footage for, but is very mysterious at the same time because it's described as a horror film, but the trailers haven't really given off that horror film vibe just yet. Aliens look to be involved. Obviously, we have Daniel Kaluuya in there, Keke Palmer, among many others. Stephen Ewan, thank you so much for mentioning that as well. This movie looks weird, wacky, different, a clear Jordan Peele film. What are we thinking, guys? Is this a movie that we go out and see just like we saw Us a few years ago?
Oh,
or
I'm seeing an opening night.
I mean, I'll go.
Yeah.
If The Gray Man's not in theaters, I'll go.
No double feature?
Oh, that's true. I forgot about the fact the same night. I'm immediately seeing. As the resident horror biatch.
Really? The resident horror? You're not the resident horror guy?
Did you not just hear me finish it with the resident horror biatch?
Oh, I didn't hear that. No.
Okay, yeah.
Jake, biatch is a... Never mind.
Yeah. The scaredy cat. The fact that I want to immediately see this, tells you something about his movies that he's done so far. This was... I know it was in my top 10 of most anticipated for the year. It's Us was wild. Get Out was insane. So it's what has he done that hasn't been good? And they're just, I remember both times walking out going my mind feels like it just exploded. And I feel like this is going to do the same exact thing. So I'm all on for this.
I was thrown off by the latest trailer, and it felt like it had a lot more humor than I was anticipating. I mean, obviously it's we know it's alien abduction now, right? UFOs and whatnot.
That's what it sounds like, yeah.
Yeah, and but with the Jordan Peele movie, there's also going to be some commentary as well, and up to this point, I think he's done pretty damn good on that end, never really going overboard or distracting from the main story or the characters. And it's Daniel Kaluuya and Jordan Peele teaming up once again. So, I mean, yeah, so much credibility, and it's going to be another hit for Jordan Peele. So,
yeah, it's, and RL said it. It's kind of Jordan Peele's films, even with Us, which I personally did not like very much, as far as just the overall scope of the film. It's a movie that you kind of have to go back to really understand over and over again. Because Gio, you mentioned it, he has a lot to say. Jordan Peele has a lot to say as a director.
Oh yeah.
And that's why he won't do movies like comic book movies or, big giant blockbusters, etc., because he wants to tell stories in the way that he wants to tell them. And he's the one he wants to say. So
start to finish.
And there's absolutely, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all, because I think it brings creative and a different take to what we usually get these days with movies and theaters, because a lot of movies that are pushed are the Top Gun Mavericks or the MCU films or the Star Wars or the DC or whatever, the Avatars of the world, right? So to see a director who comes in with such a clear creative vision of what he wants to tell gets such major pushes like he's gotten with Get Out, with Us, now with Nope, it's very cool to see. Whether or not you like the film, they're always an experience, which is why you should always see his movies in theaters. I remember
100%.
even though I didn't like Us, I remember going as a group to go see Us and having like an hour's worth of conversation outside the theater of what we just watched. And that's what's so great about it is you get to experience these movies in a different light compared to what Star Wars and Marvel and DC and all these major companies are pushing as far as action movies and stuff goes. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm hoping I like it more than I did Us, much more on the Get Out level. But at this moment, I don't really know anything about it. Like, I'm super confused and intrigued, and like this mysterious like thought towards it gets me excited. But like I said, if The Gray Man comes out the same night, I'm going to see The Gray Man first. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And I mean, not to mention, these movies that he's made have been made for almost dirt cheap and made a butt ton of money.
You can tell in the trailers that it's a on location, super cheap film that is made to feel like a blockbuster movie.
Well, I didn't realize how much money you think it cost to make Get Out.
Get Out being his first, I'd probably say somewhere around 10-15 million.
4.5, and it made 255. How much?
I'm sorry, Brian. Gabby, we're talking about movies that are coming out, not that have already come out.
She
loves this movie, which is why she's saying this.
Well, of course. And then he made Us on 20 million, another 250 million.
This one I would probably say is around 30 or 40.
Yep.
Google it. You can look it up. Google it. It probably says it already.
I would, if I had to guess, I would put it up like around 20. Probably.
I'm saying because of the alienness, I'm going to say 30 or 40.
That's true.
Well,
which is not a lot. That's not a lot. Like 30 or 40 million these days is nothing compared to what movies go for these days.
He got between 15 and 25.
Really? I mean, 25, I guess. That's close. That makes sense.
There's only 5 million more than than Us.
Yeah, I mean, the dude knows how to work money. Just saying that.
Yeah.
Not much.
Seriously.
Okay, so moving on from July 22nd, which has The Gray Man coming out on Netflix and then Nope in theaters. We're going to skip over July 29th because DC League of Super Pets. Like, no, sorry, not talking about that.
Gio, I'm just curious. Are you do you want to see that?
Yeah, but not in theaters. I'm probably gonna
that's fair.
catch it on HBO Max. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
So.
The first weekend of August 5th has a couple big movies that come out, but the biggest one is David Leitch's Bullet Train, which stars Brad Pitt, among many other names that are featured in this film. I know the marketing has been incredibly weird and different and interesting, but the cast is awesome. Brad Pitt leading a movie is always a win. David Leitch knows how to direct action. Remember the first John Wick, Deadpool 2, however you feel about it, Atomic Blonde, yes. I'm looking forward to this movie a lot. It's also an IMAX film, so I'm super, super pumped. I know it's based on a former property that's being brought to the big screen. I really can't go wrong with something that's Brad Pitt. Like, honestly, I'm just here for some crazy, bloody, violent action, and having Brad Pitt at the forefront, I'm all for it. So,
yeah, I agree. And the fact that Brad Pitt's literally said in a recent spread, I believe it was for GQ, that he's on his last legs as far as his filmmaking career goes. So
yeah,
we're only going to get so much of Brad Pitt in new movies. So to your point, Jake, the marketing for this movie has been kind of weird.
Annoying.
You know, I mean, if I didn't know it was directed by David Leitch or had a cast, I think general audiences are looking at this going, what? You know? And like the fact that they spent so much money during the NBA finals, I would not watch the NBA finals, unfortunately. So yeah. But you know, I mean, it's David Leitch, Atomic Blonde, Deadpool 2, Hobbs and Shaw, and
Zazie Beetz is in it.
Yeah, John Wick. Yeah, as well.
Aaron Taylor Johnson's in this. You also have
Hiroyuki
the guy that plays
Sanada.
Fastos. He plays Fastos in Eternals.
Brian Tyree Henry.
Brian Tyree Henry, thank you. I mean, how can you not be excited? like it looks cool. Like
Michael
I know David Leitch
Shannon.
isn't. Oh, Michael Shannon looks just like a weirdo, which is so Michael Shannon.
Logan Lerman.
So Michael Shannon. Like I know David Leitch isn't like a high profile household name, but when you look at his resume, you know, the first John Wick, you know, Deadpool 2, which I know a lot of people kind of differ on because of how crazy it is compared to the first one. But then Atomic Blonde, I love Atomic Blonde.
Amazing.
And if it's anything like Atomic Blonde or John Wick, just with the train ride, win, obviously.
Did you know Antoine Fuqua is a producer?
That's a huge plus too, because he knows how to do action movies as well. So, yeah, I mean, it seems cool. It looks like, and I think Stardew mentioned it. It's like the action crazy version of Murder on the Orient Express, which, you know, I'm all for. And again, going back to what we talked about earlier, having Brad Pitt star in it is kind of a big deal. He's still very much a guy that brings money to the box office.
Oh yeah,
you know, especially over the last couple of years. He starred in a couple movies that have really brought in the bank, and then you put him in the forefront. I mean, I'm gonna go see it opening weekend. I'll tell you that much.
My favorite.
I get a
cast.
Smoking Aces on a train vibe.
Yeah, it just seems like I think you should go in expecting something weird, wacky, and different in an action film body. You know, just something that's a little different, which I think is totally okay.
Agreed.
All right, moving on from August 5th. Nothing major. August 12th. We have a couple movies coming out. Okay. August 19th, again, nothing major coming out as well.
I'm saying.
August 26th, there's actually a trailer that came out for a movie that's coming out August 26th called The Invitation. It's a horror film that stars Natalie Emmanuel from Game of Thrones and Fast and Furious. Go check that out on YouTube. There's a trailer that came out just today. We're not going to talk about it, but and then August 31st, nothing major coming out. August has always been a January, kind of the dumping ground of movies. Gio, what do you got?
Let me roll it back real quick because this is a movie I've been having my eye on and I haven't seen.
The Invitation?
No.
Oh.
This is another movie coming out August 26th. It could
Samaritan?
be a sleeper. Samaritan. Sylvester Stallone, a new take on a superhero.
Okay. Yes.
They're describing it as very dark. And again, I haven't seen anything of it yet, but how it's being described and Stallone as a superhero. There was a leaked set photo of him wearing a hood, and like it's just like it kind of brought me a little bit of Hancock vibes. Just keep your eye on that. Samaritan, August 26th.
Also, to add to that, Gio, thank you for kind of bringing it back a little bit. The movie that's coming out on August 19th called Beast is an Idris Elba film. I don't want to go over that because it actually is. I didn't catch it because of the name, and I apologize. But the synopsis of the film is: recently widowed Dr. Nate Daniels and his two teenage daughters travel to South Africa, a game reserve managed by Martin Battles, an old family friend and wildlife biologist. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he battles a tiger or lion in the movie.
Lion.
But it's Idris Elba, so like all for it. All for it if it's Idris Elba, you know what I mean? So yeah, Beast on August 29th, and then The Samaritan on August 26th. But moving into September, nothing major the first week outside of the re-release of Spider-Man No Way Home, the more fun stuff, which is a director's cut of the movie. We're not going to talk about that. Because September 8th is a Thursday, and we have a live-action adaptation of Pinocchio coming out on Disney+. That is hitting Disney Plus that weekend. It's not going to hit theaters, but it is hit Disney Plus. Are we excited for this or nah?
It's so weird because like a few months later, Guillermo del Toro was doing a Pinocchio as well.
Jake, I have Pinocchio moved to November.
Really?
November. November.
Where'd you find that
at? November 4th or something. Oh, I'm just on Movie Insider. It has the list of like everything by. I don't know.
I'm looking at the first showings website, but
okay.
Either way, I mean, it's a Disney Plus film.
It's Zemeckis.
I don't
too.
like. I think like it is Robert Zemeckis, but Robert Zemeckis has been like very hit or miss. Like very hit or miss.
Like
over the last
recently,
however
or-
long.
Yeah.
This is
like
the
he
Tom
did-
Hanks one, right?
Yes, this is the Tom
Okay,
Hanks
so
movie.
Robert
So
Downey Jr.
it's going to be more of the direct adaptation, whereas Guillermo del Toro's is going to take probably a lot of liberty to the property and tell his specific story. I mean, I'm going to watch it. I don't know how much I'm looking forward to it, but
I
who
think
knows?
you
I mean,
almost kind of have to be I feel Pinocchio is very, you either like it or you don't like it.
yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of Pinocchio. Like, I don't have a problem with Pinocchio. I don't. I know there's issues with it over times, but I honestly think that there's a chance, because it is Zemeckis, that there's a small chance the movie could absolutely be really, really good. It is a smaller story, right? You have Tom Hanks in the role, but it being released on Disney Plus doesn't really like do too much for me. It does kind of bum me out a little bit.
I believe this was wasn't this originally supposed to be a Geppetto movie? Like
Yes.
flat out more Geppetto, and then
Yes,
so I'm like,
but now it's it seems like a straight adaptation of Pinocchio.
yeah,
I will watch it definitely more than I would have in theaters, like because it's on Disney Plus. I mean, this is why we subscribe and pay per month.
For sure.
But I have to ask you guys. Okay, you had to pick one. Are you picking Robert Zemeckis's Pinocchio, or are you going to go for Guillermo del Toro's
Del Toro.
Del Toro?
I am not a big Pinocchio person.
But if you had to choose,
I really don't care, honestly. Like,
I would say Del Toro because, and we've talked about this a lot with Disney adaptations. We have that version already.
right?
We have Pinocchio, right? And as much as I love like the live,
so now I think this one's going to be
which,
different because I think Pinocchio is a little bit problematic, and I think that Disney's.
I mean,
gonna
I
change
think there's definitely going to be changes, but the overall story is probably going to be the same. Del Toro's going to tell something completely different,
Right.
And it's Del Toro. Like, how can you not look forward to something that Del Toro does?
It's kind of what I appreciated, even though it wasn't the strongest, but I appreciated it about the Mulan. You know how Mulan was the
Different.
live action was much different than
Yeah.
that.
And Aladdin.
Aladdin as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. So I don't know. It reminds me of Jungle Book. How the Disney one, and then you had the Mowgli with Christian Bale and all that. It's just like, wow.
I'm sure I'd pick Del Toro. The only thing that I'm more apprehensive is he's much more. What's the word? Not dark.
He's a
No,
monster storyteller.
With Guillermo del Toro, he's, what do you call that filmmaker? Yeah, like what's that term? When you're watching a Michael Bay movie or a Steven Spielberg movie. What do you call that? What's the term for a filmmaker? Something auteur filmmaker. Like with Guillermo, you're watching a Guillermo del Toro movie.
Oh,
Just from
100%.
the practical effects, the design of the creatures and whatnot. So, yeah.
All right. Well, moving on from that, we have a couple movies coming out over the next few weeks, but the next big weekend that has a couple big releases is September 23rd. We have two big movies that are coming out that weekend. The first one is in theaters. It's Don't Worry, Darling, which I'm super bummed that Jacob's not here to talk about this because this is one of his most anticipated films of this year. The Olivia Wilde film. That's Florence Pugh, Harry Styles, Chris Pine, and Olivia Wilde in the role. But also on top of that weekend being released on Netflix, which a movie I'm really looking forward to is Blonde, the Marilyn Monroe film with Ana de Armas, which we'll get to here in just a sec. But let's start with Don't Worry, Darling. Olivia Wilde crushed it with Booksmart, right?
See, I was not a huge fan of that.
Okay, so I'll say consensus-wise, she crushed it. There's a lot of people who may feel different about it, but over the overall consensus, they would say that she pretty much came out with a hammer and smacked it. And she steps into the director's chair once more time with Don't Worry, Darling, a film that is a book adaptation, I believe, and has a lot of big fans and following over around the world. But the cast is kind of what hooks you. Florence Pugh, Harry Styles, who has really come into his own as an actor since Dunkirk, right? Starring in a couple of other movies here and there. Chris Pine, Olivia Wilde. But then that first trailer, how eerie and weird that first trailer was, right? Where Florence Pugh almost seemed very trapped. I'm looking forward to it. I know Jacob is looking forward to it the most out of all of us, but I'm all for it. I mean, you put Harry Styles and Florence Pugh on the poster, I'm all game. I'm totally all game.
Andy, Booksmart, the reason I did not like it because I set my expectations too high for it. I will flat out admit that. This looks trippy and one that's going to mess with your brain and you're going to be trying to figure stuff out. And those are my favorite types of movies, is the ones that you are trying to sit there and figure out what the heck is going on and trying to like figure it out before the end of the movie. Just so much crazy stuff is happening. And you're giving me a cast that's fantastic like this. Sign me the heck up. And I had, like you said, Jacob has had this on his radar. I had no idea this movie existed until that trailer dropped.
Same.
Not a clue in the world. Olivia Wilde's doing another movie. That's about as much as I knew. And I saw that trailer and I went, oh, this looks really good. So I'm very excited to see this.
Gia?
As he's watching the trailer.
Oh, is he? Okay. So while he...
Yeah, I've only heard of the title. I don't know anything about the trailer.
You're good. I'll watch. I'll talk about Blonde while you watch the trailer.
Who's
Jake? You just put in the chat the main thing I was going to bring up: the fact that this movie's NC-17.
I love it. Like you don't have to tell me anything else. And our buddy Dom, who's been on the channel a couple of times, this is the movie that him and I have talked about quite a bit over the last year. And he's asked me specifically about certain things, and there was actually at one point that the movie was even there was even a question if Netflix was going to release it because they went so hardcore into NC-17 with the Marilyn Monroe story. And that personally gets me super, super excited because I think if you're going to tell a biography, you really need to tell a biography. Like you need to be able to touch those corners that have been untouched for so long. First of all, casting for Ana de Armas as Marilyn Monroe is chef's kiss perfect.
It's so funny because I did not, when I first heard that, I went,
it's so good. She looks so good after seeing that very quick teaser from a couple weeks ago. It looks, and that very eerie moment at the end where she kind of switches from being very sad to like laughing. It makes me excited for what is going to be told in the story. You know, I know that Marilyn Monroe's life in front of the camera was very different from what actually happened behind the camera. So if they're telling that, I'm super interested. And she's not someone I know a lot about. All I know is that she was the it girl for a very, very long time. She was the hot topic for years. And it's kind of surprising in a way that it's taken this long to get a story about her, but it almost might be the perfect time to tell her story. With everything else going on in the world. But I'm interested what the NC-17 rating has in store for us because we haven't seen a movie like that in quite a while, especially on someone like Marilyn Monroe, like a real life person that's based on a biography.
Yeah. Biographies are kind of biopics, biographies, whatever you want to call them. They're kind of the popular thing right now. And I'm very curious to see how this movie plays out. I had heard that Netflix was debating whether or not to release it because it was maybe too scandalous. But other than that, that's all I had heard about it. Watched the trailer. Very interested. Very interested.
Yeah,
Gio, what'd you think of Don't Worry,
Blonde
Darling?
Oh.
No, go ahead. Finish with Blonde.
Don't Worry, Darling. Wow.
Okay.
What a weird trailer. It's like The Island meets Pleasantville / Truman Show with a little bit of Mad Max Fury Road in there with all the cars in the desert. I'm just weird.
Like
fucking
Fallout.
weird. It's like fucking weird. But now I want to watch it.
Right?
Oh my god. I don't know shit about this movie, but I want to watch it. Yeah.
Yeah.
mind blown. I feel like I'm gonna need therapy after watching that movie. Fuck.
I think that's 100% correct. What do you think about Blonde, though, Gio?
I mean, what a hell of a teaser trailer. I mean, just it's what I'd imagine that's what Sacha Baron Cohen wanted when doing a Freddie Mercury biopic. But
that's a good call.
Ana de Armas showing the darker side of Marilyn Monroe. You know, we all see the icon, right? The
Persona.
Persona. Thank you. But with this one, it's gonna get pretty ugly, and it's gonna make a lot of Marilyn Monroe fans like uncomfortable. But if it's trying to be accurate,
yeah,
as to what kind of demons Marilyn Monroe fought and show that she was very much human, I'm all for it. This is the kind of stuff that Netflix and streaming should be doing because there's creative freedom. So
yeah,
count me in.
Yeah, and the cast is pretty good. I mean, you obviously have Ana de Armas, but you have Adrian Brody, Sarah Paxton, Bobby Cannavale, Julian Nicholson. Pretty great cast for this specific story. All right, moving on to the next week. A couple big movies that are coming out. Well, I wouldn't call them as big, but two movies that are hitting theaters is Bros.
Yes.
If you have not seen the Bros trailer, go check that out. The trailer dropped last week. And then there's
Looks
also
so
a horror
funny.
film, which you've probably seen in previews to in theater films like Top Gun Maverick, but there's a horror film coming out called Smile. But the biggest movie hitting that weekend is actually on Disney Plus, which we got a teaser trailer to today, and that is Hocus Pocus 2. Hocus Pocus is officially returning, and it will debut on Disney Plus on September 30th. Gentlemen, before we move on, any thoughts on any of these three films before we head into October?
I'm extremely excited for Bros. Looks freaking hilarious. Even my mom was like, this movie looks pretty funny. And she's not someone to like something like that. And I've never seen the full Hocus Pocus. So
Oh, Brian.
yeah.
You gotta
Samir.
watch that.
Woohoo.
Right.
Gotta watch that.
Yeah. So
Bros stars Billy Eichner, by the way. And Luke
it's a
McFarlane.
Completely gay cast, I believe.
Yeah. Oh,
Everyone.
is it like completely?
Completely.
I didn't know that. Okay, that's very, very cool. Okay. That comes out that weekend. It's from Nick Stoller, who did Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Get Into the Greek, 5-Year Engagement, and Neighbors, which is a big deal. It's a big. Those are some incredible comedy films.
Isn't it directed by Judd
No, it's
Apatow?
directed. No, Nick Stoller. Judd Apatow probably produced it. He probably produced it. But Nick Stoller, who did those films I just mentioned, was the actual director of the film.
Okay.
If nobody has seen the 5-Year Engagement, I highly recommend the 5-Year Engagement. It's Jason Segel and Emily Blunt. It's absolutely amazing. Gio, before we move on, any thoughts on Bros, Hocus Pocus 2, or Smile?
I was about to watch the Bros trailer, but it's nearly 3 minutes long, and that kind of
It's a long trailer.
So I'm probably not going to watch it. But the fact that Nicholas Stoller, who, I mean, Neighbors, you said it, Jake. Forgetting
Sarah Marshall.
Even Give Him to the I love Give Him to the Greek, personally. But okay, yeah, it's on my radar. Absolutely.
And Billy Eichner is he's a treat. He's an absolute treat.
He's so funny.
Who did he voice
he's just
in
a
Lion
treat.
King?
Didn't he do Zazu?
No, that was late.
No,
night
wasn't
with,
he-
that
He was Timon, wasn't he?
Timon. That's what it was.
Okay.
Yeah, Timon. It was Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner. You're right. Right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Which were the best parts about
Yes,
the Lion
agrees.
King live action.
John Pierce. I'm jealous you got to watch this for the first time, my man. Jealous.
God, I need to watch it again.
I've seen it 3 times. Gio, catch up.
I need to see it in D-Box. That's what I need to do.
Me too, Brian. Let's go.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to go.
All right. So moving on from September, let's get to October. So we have a movie called Lyle Crocodile coming out the first weekend of October, which if you see in the trailer, you know what that movie's all about. but we're going to move into October 14th, which is a big weekend because it very well could be the end of the Halloween franchise as Halloween Ends officially hits theaters. And I know the predecessor, Halloween Kills, did not get received too well, especially by a couple of people on this specific panel. But it is the final chapter of the Michael Myers story, from what we're being told. Jamie Lee Curtis coming back, and the same director from the previous two films. Look, I thought Halloween Kills was one of the worst movies ever made. I hated that movie. Like, could not stand that movie. It was so badly made. But I am looking forward to seeing what the finale looks like. And, you know, if it is, you know, Laurie Strode versus Michael Myers, I'm all for it. But if they kind of string us along again after Halloween Kills, where Laurie Strode and Michael Myers didn't touch each other, then you've made a giant mistake. So I'm looking forward to it, but I'm definitely cautious because, I mean, Halloween 2018 is fantastic. And then Halloween Kills was awful. So they're 1 for 2 right now. And literally on the complete ends of the spectrum.
You mean 1 for 1?
Well, no, they're 1 for 2. Halloween and the Halloween Kills. They're 1 for 2.
It would be 1 for 1.
No, they've made 2, but they're 1 for 2.
Math.
Hey, it's summer vacation break for you. It's all good.
I'm a computer teacher. It does it for me.
But yeah, Halloween Kills, guys. Are we looking forward to it? Or are we kind of just like, eh?
Don't ask me. I'm not seeing these.
Fair enough.
I saw the last 20 minutes of Halloween Kills, and that's all I needed to see.
I mean, it was released in theaters and on Peacock at the same time because of the pandemic. I'm curious to see what they do again. But yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna get my butt to the theater right away to see it just because of the last one.
They can't.
The last one was like a big bummer.
They can't drop the ball on this one.
Yeah, if they do, it's like wow, that's bad. That's bad.
Yeah.
All right, moving on from that weekend, we're gonna move into the next weekend, which is probably the biggest weekend in a few weeks. Coming into this point, October 21st is Black Adam. The first DC film of the year. Was Suicide Squad this year or last year?
Last year.
It was last year. So, yeah, Black Adam's coming in hot. We have Dwayne Johnson finally portraying this character after like 15 years of being casted as him. We have a trailer.
I think I was still in high school when this got announced.
I'm pretty sure I was in middle school. We have footage of it. It is actually happening, and it is coming out October 21st. Gio, I will obviously let you start this one off. Let's not spend too much time on it, but Black Adam, sir, go for it.
I wish this movie came sooner, but the fact that better late than never. Love Aldous Hodge as Hawkman. I'm excited for him. Obviously, Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. And
he's going to steal the movie.
Yeah, probably. But like the trailer for myself confirmed that we're not going to get family friendly Dwayne Johnson, which we've been getting for the last 10 years. I think since
I beg
either
to differ,
Snitch or Faster. Well, no,
I hope you're right.
Don't get me wrong.
Right,
I am putting everything in. Like I am willing this into existence, Gio, that you are right.
Yeah, I don't think Jake and I have ever. I haven't championed something you've said harder than what you're saying.
Well, because I haven't gotten that notion in the trailer. I mean, I think about when he's standing face to face with Hawkeye, and he's like, "Heroes don't kill people."
Hawkman.
Sorry, Hawkman. Thank you.
Every time I hear that, I think of Jacob and how it sounds like he's saying "hot guy." You remember? How he was saying?
Yeah. I miss him.
I miss that guy so much. I miss him.
Yeah. But, you know, just that long pause before he says, "I do." And we've seen it. We saw it in the very first footage at DC Fandom where he literally fries a guy while choking him.
Yeah, but
that's what I need. I need that consistently, though.
The other guy, it needs to happen the entire movie.
Yeah.
No, I agree. Now, Jake, I know you're a little bit, you know,
I'm super apprehensive.
Me too.
This movie terrifies me.
Gio, I was
because
high on
it's
it.
because he's not a straight up villain and more of a
But
anti-hero who does
but
things.
I don't want him being Venom. I don't. I want him like this dude is supposed to fight Superman and
not
Shazam at some
gonna-
point.
Yeah, they're not gonna make Venom with this movie. No, Venom is too whack and out of there, and I kind of almost wish we got an R-rated, darker version of Tom Hardy's
I agree.
Eddie Brock Venom. But you know what?
I thought you meant
Whatever. I
Aquaman.
digress. Make no mistake. He is gonna fight a Superman. I fucking hope it's Henry Cavill's Superman, and he will fight
It won't be.
Shazam.
Because he's gonna be
Come on.
Captain Britain in the MCU.
Bro, no, not that. No. Mm-mm. Well, I've heard some things, but anyways.
Okay, insider
No, I'm
over
looking-
here.
I'm looking forward to Black Adam. You guys should be too. It's Dwayne
No,
I
Johnson.
okay.
am. We just
It's a
don't.
comic book movie.
I just don't need another
Yes,
anti-hero. Like the way
I
that
agree.
the way that Sony has made every single Spider-Man villain an anti-hero.
Agreed.
And I do not need DC to do that too. Give me the villain side that they do phenomenally in Suicide Squad, where they're not. Those guys are just bad people. Like I'm not saying you need to compare him to, but this guy, he will in the comics will F anyone up that messes with him or his country. That's what I need to see.
I think that's what they're gonna do, but he is going to do things his way, and whether that means, for his own selfish reasons or for like doing something that in our mind could be a good deed, but it crosses that line because the way he handled it is very villain-like, even though he did us a favor. Like he's not going to give a F about collateral damage, about, oh my God, look what Superman did in Metropolis. Like Black Adam will literally go into a city. He might save the city, but he's going to kill somebody for his own reasons, and he doesn't care if other people die. So,
well, I hope they stick to that.
No, I totally. So, like, I kind of share your guys' concerns a little bit because Dwayne Johnson, he wants to hit all four quadrants, with his movies, and he's a marketing genius. Say what you will about his movies, but I do share that concern a little bit. But from what I've gotten so far, I don't think that's what we're gonna get. I could be wrong, and I hope I'm not wrong.
I do not want the Punisher inside of DC. And when I talk about this, I'm both talking about the Daredevil version and the comic book version. In the comic books, there's one big moment where Captain America and Punisher fight. Well, more so Captain America punching the crap out of Punisher because of their differences of how things are handled by the Punisher, about how he goes about things, right? He's still very much for the good guys, but it's the way he goes about things. Black Adam is not a good guy. It's not. It is so different than he needs to come off as a villain. He strictly needs to come off as a villain rather than someone who feels bad about a city being blown up, so he's going to save it but not care about collateral damage. No, I want the dude to fly away if the city's being blown up. Like that's what I need from the movie. If he's going up against the JSA, I swear to God, if he fights alongside the JSA, I'm done.
Jake, I think
done.
You're being overly critical and you're narrowing your strike zone. Like, please, wow. Like, don't watch the movie.
If he fights along the JSA, the movie is pointless.
No.
The movie is pointless.
To kill the JSA.
Here's what I think is going to happen.
Except for Dr. Fate.
I think he's going to try. He's going to try, but the JSA... Here's what the movie's going to do. It's going to show you this is what a good guy looks like in JSA. This is what a bad guy looks like in Black Adam. They're going to go toe-to-toe in this movie. I think it's going to go very wrong. They're going to try to make him be a hero. You literally see Dr. Fate and Hawkman both saying, hey, come on now. There's so much in this world that you can do good for.
I hope he denies them and snaps both their necks.
Not
You
Dr.
really
Fate,
want
leave
Hawkman
Dr.
to die? You want Hawkman and Dr. Fate to die after one movie? Like,
Let's be honest.
no.
What's their future after this movie? What's their future?
I
Those
could
are the
say
only
that
two
about
characters-
half the MCU.
Those are the only two characters I care about in this movie outside of Black Adam. He can kill Cyclone. He can kill Atom Smasher. He can kill.
Oh yeah, 100%.
No, don't get me wrong. Hawkman is one of my favorite DC characters, so I'm really lying. I don't want Hawkman to die, and I love Aldous Hodge.
had
Like
me
I
worried.
love Aldous Hodge.
The only
But
thing
That's
is
a great,
Hawkman's
great casting.
It's a fantastic casting. Like him in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., go watch it. He's fantastic in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But yeah, I'm done talking.
We're still in October.
I know, we gotta move fast, guys. We gotta move fast. Okay.
We got to
so,
get to December.
Black Adam, so that comes out August 21st. August 28th, there's a couple movies coming out called The Devil's Light, which sounds like a horror film, and then Devotion. Moving into November, we have
Powell is in. I watched the trailer for this. It's basically another version.
wait,
of
what? What?
Devotion?
Oh, I'm all for it then. If it's Glenn Powell and Top Gun, I'm all for it.
It's set, I think, during the Korean War.
Sign me up. Sign me up. I'm in. All right, November 4th, the first weekend of November, has a movie called Amsterdam coming out. Which, let me click on it real quick, see if I know anything about it.
All I see is that it has Christian Bale and Margot Robbie, and that's all I need to know.
And it's directed by David O. Russell and Zoe Saldana and Anya Taylor-Joy.
Oh,
So, okay, I'm all for Amsterdam. It's set in the
Anya
30s.
Taylor-Joy is making that coin this year.
It's set in the 30s, and it follows three friends who witness a murder, become suspects themselves, and uncover one of the most outrageous plots in American history. Okay, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. We haven't heard or seen anything of it, so we're going to skip over it for now. But the next big movie that we can talk about, which we can't spend too much time on, is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Probably the most mysterious film of the year, obviously, because of the things that have happened so far over the last couple of years with Chadwick Boseman tragically passing away, and him no longer being part of this franchise. We have Ryan Coogler coming back to direct with the cast returning, everyone except for Chadwick. We don't really know everything is really being kept under wraps at this point. We don't know the story. We don't know when it takes place. We don't know how it takes place. Obviously, the rumors of Namor being involved are big. Who's going to take over the mantle? The conversations have been flowing for the past couple of years. But just quickly, gentlemen, what are we thinking about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever? Obviously, I know that we're all looking forward to it, but what are some specific thoughts about this, sequel that has some very, very rough, rough things going on about it?
I'm keeping my expectations for this movie dirt low.
Really?
Not because I think it's going to be bad. I'm just saying, like, with everything that's going on, like, I'm just leaving it here. Like, I don't want to get hyped for it. I don't want to get excited.
Because there's certain things you want to happen that you are afraid are not going to happen, and vice versa.
Well, that and knowing that T'Challa is not going to be in it is something that I don't think I've even gotten to the point where I'm, like, accepted of that yet. I mean,
I haven't.
Yeah.
Because we really haven't gotten to a story that, since Endgame, we haven't gotten to a story that's mentioned him. Yeah. So we haven't even, like, touched the fact that he's no longer there.
Yeah. I just, like, I don't know. It scares me. I know it's in good hands. It just scares me. Like, because it's like, this movie just seemed to be, like, getting, like, punched in the face over and over and over again.
Well, and you're speaking of the COVID stuff with
COVID, Chadwick,
delays,
like, everything.
Chadwick, Letitia Wright, and
Letitia Wright.
Letitia Wright.
It's just,
sorry.
It just honestly keeps.
And Andy's right. This is what we're all waiting for. It's almost July, and we have yet to see a trailer.
I almost don't.
They're still working hard on the movie.
I know.
I think that they're probably going to save it for the week of Thor. I think that's probably the time to release some kind of trailer.
You think Thor? Oh, I don't even think it'll be out for Thor.
I think
that's the only big Disney release.
You got
Disney / Marvel
a teaser.
I think you have to release something.
I think
Like
they
maybe just like Ryan Coogler talking or the cast talking behind the scenes about the movie. Not even necessarily a trailer, but just something about the movie, because it comes out in November. It got pushed back to this time. We know what's happened with the film. Obviously, Chadwick, that's a big deal, but also the COVID stuff, the Letitia Wright stuff. We have no idea what is happening with the movie. Star-Drew's right. We know that Marvel's headed to Comic-Con. That's also a big option.
Good call. That's probably
Like,
where you see
maybe it's not Thor. Maybe it's Comic-Con, because it gives them a couple more weeks to kind of work on it. Yeah, it's just
By the way,
very
I'm not
interesting.
pooping
Very
on this
interesting.
movie. I'm just literally like, I don't know how to feel. Like,
Brian,
it's
someone's
home.
You have a lot of valid points. You know, there's so many things that could go wrong with this. I think about when Heath Ledger died after The Dark Knight. Christopher Nolan was kind of checked out. You know, The Dark Knight Rises, you could tell that, you know, it was not what he initially wanted to do. You know, Joker was going to be a part of that movie. I'm worried about that. If that could happen to somebody like Christopher Nolan, it can happen to somebody like Ryan Coogler, who, you know, Marvel has a plan. You know, they have you know, they plant flags ahead of time, well ahead of time for these movies. And while they may adjust some things like they did Spider-Man No Way Home, Multiverse of Madness and whatnot, these movies are still going to happen because it's part of the bigger universe. So there is a concern that Ryan Coogler is pushing forward. He didn't really, I mean, nobody had the idea that something like this could even happen. You know, Kevin Feige found out days leading up to Chadwick's death. So you take that. You know, Jake, how you feel about Black Adam? I feel like that's how general audiences a lot are going to feel about this movie. Like, you better get it right. You better pay homage, pay respect. And if you're going to include Chadwick like you do a young Luke Skywalker, or, you know, something like that, you know, that the effects, whatever you're going to do, whether it's him in the after, what do they call it, the afterworld and the Black Panther?
I think it's just afterlife.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it's actually
called.
Where
you know, T'Challa went to visit
the former kings. The former
kings. If you're gonna have a scene like that with, you know, Chadwick in there, you know, and you better have that perfect. You know, but then you look at James Wan and Furious 7 and what they did with Paul Walker's Brian O'Connor character, and you're like, okay, it can be done, and you can bet your ass Kevin Feige and Marvel, they're paying extra attention to the post-production of this movie and making sure they get it right. Otherwise, if this goes wrong, man. But
I mean, you're right, Gio. It's the most important movie they made so far.
Yeah.
You know, and I know that obviously Endgame and Infinity War and all that stuff, as far as story goes, bringing everything together, but it is by far the most important movie they made so far, because not only do they have to push the story forward for this world of Black Panther and the characters surrounding that, you know, mythology, but like you said, they have to pay respects to what came before them in Chadwick Boseman. We've only seen this twice before. Once was The Dark Knight, where Heath Ledger filmed and then he died before the release. Right. But then we saw this with Furious 7 and Paul Walker, where he died in the middle of filming, and they had to finish the actual project. There's multiple ways that they can do it. For me personally, I probably don't expect to see Chadwick physically outside of flashbacks of footage we've already seen, deleted scenes, stuff like that. A very Carrie Fisher vibe of episode 9, where they only reuse footage of her rather than creating digitally new stuff. But obviously the biggest, you know, just keeping that out of it and kind of like pushing the MCU story, pushing forward, the biggest question is like, what happens with the character of Black Panther?
And I think that's, for me, my biggest thing. I will not feel comfortable about this movie until I know what they're doing with that character.
I agree. And you know, I don't know how everybody else feels, but I have a specific, you know, everyone has what they want to see. I personally don't want to see Shuri take over the role. I think Shuri is great as a character of Shuri. Yeah. I don't think she needs to take over the role of Black Panther. I think there's plenty of other options. both M'Baku and Nakia as two great options to take over the role of Black Panther. It's just I'm very curious. I'm very curious. You know,
I like that
it is by far
Nakia, which is the Miss Marvel one, and not Nakia, which is
it Nakia? Nakia?
Nakia is Black
spelled the same.
Panther. Nakia is
it's spelled the same. Whatever. But it's you know, by far the most important film that they've made to this point. You know, because they have a lot to do. I will just say this as a fan. You know, I 100% think we're getting Namor, but I also 100% think we're getting the first reference of Doctor Doom in this film. I think Doctor Doom will be referenced, whether it's Latveria or Doom himself, but I 100% think this movie will introduce or bring to light Doctor Doom to the MCU, and it's going to set up a lot of stuff going forward outside of the actual Black Panther stuff.
That's been rumored since before he passed away. I mean, that rumor's been around for a very long time. I think really at this point, Namor's a lock in. Namor's a lock.
I think Namor's a lock as well. I do too.
I will, like I said, I will not feel comfortable about this movie until I know what they're doing with that character. Personally,
we're not going to know until we're in the movie, though. So,
question just to kind of move the conversation on, because we do have to move on. I want to ask you guys point blank about the Black Panther stuff. Do you think, you can answer simply, do you think that the selection of Black Panther happens through a voting process of the government of Black Panther or Wakanda, excuse me, or do you think it's picked through the family / like, you know, history values of Black Panther?
I lately have been hoping that what they do is, I have recently started to lean towards a recast of T'Challa, just because I think it's important to have that character. How I think what I would like to see right now as him, not T'Challa, not in this movie. Someone else is Black Panther for this movie, and by 3 we have a recast of T'Challa. That's what I'm hoping to see.
This is just my opinion, but if they ever do recast him, and everyone can disagree with me or come after me, there's only one person for the job. Michael B. Jordan. You cast Michael B. Jordan as T'Challa. To me, that's my opinion. That's my opinion, because of how much it meant. Like, I don't think anybody would care. Anybody. You recast him and put Michael B. Jordan in that role.
I was going to say John David Washington. But
John David Washington is great. It's a great choice. But I think, you know, obviously he played great in Killmonger, but I don't think anybody would have a single issue with Michael B. Jordan playing T'Challa after what happened. Just saying.
Yeah. I personally, like I said, I think as a Marvel Comics fan, I think they would be doing the character of Black Panther a disservice.
I mean, I'm with you, Brian.
Ending the run of T'Challa.
Well, he is so important to so many things.
So critical to Marvel, to a culture, to kids.
Yep.
It's. I mean, I will never forget how devastated my kids at work were when he died and they lost that character. And so that's why, in my mind, I'm praying they just don't pass it to someone else. I think T'Challa is a huge character that they need to continue.
Good point.
But I don't.
Good point, Brian.
And this is, again, why I'm very standoffish of this movie.
Gio, any final thoughts before we move on?
Unless you want me to share what I've heard.
No,
stop it, Insider. Jesus. Go ahead and go check out Phantom United for all the rumors and BS that Gio hears throughout the week.
I have nothing more to add to this conversation.
Honestly, I will say this.
On the record.
I will say this. I'm very excited to see what they do with Namor.
Me too. Me too.
Because
Namor's a super exciting character.
Because from what we've seen, heard, at least that I have, it is going to be very different than the one we met in the comics.
No,
I
that
will
won't happen.
never
Bro.
watch
That
Black
won't
Panther
happen.
ever again.
That won't happen, Jedi. That won't happen. Okay, moving on. So that was November 11th. November 18th, there's a movie called She Said. Nothing really known about that at the moment. Moving on to Thanksgiving weekend, we have a movie called Bones and All. And then the Fablemans. And then Strange World, which is that new Disney animated film that was released a couple weeks ago.
I saw that.
The trailer, which was announced a couple weeks ago, which looks really, really cool. So that comes out Thanksgiving weekend. If I'm not mistaken, I looked at it earlier and it was on the schedule, but I'm pretty sure Creed 3 is also slated for Thanksgiving weekend.
Yes.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Creed 3 is set up for November. And I'll just say it quickly because we don't know a whole lot. The Creed franchise is one of my current favorite franchises running. I think they're one of the best legacy sequel movies to ever exist. They've taken the Rocky franchise and really expanded on it in the best way. The biggest and coolest thing about this movie is that Michael B. Jordan's actually directing this film. We get to see him by the director's chair, and it's the first time we get to see Adonis without Rocky because Sylvester Stallone is not coming back. So there's a lot of intriguing things. But we're not sure if it actually comes out or not, or if it's officially slated for this date just because it's not officially on the schedule. Like I said, I saw it earlier for November 23rd, but because we haven't seen or heard anything, just quick words, gentlemen, if you have any thoughts, Creed 3.
Jonathan Majors.
Oh, that's right.
Hey.
That's right.
He's in it?
He's
Go.
playing the villain, the bad guy.
Ooh.
Okay. Go
Yeah.
to Google.
Yeah, you're right.
images,
Good call.
Jonathan Majors, Creed 3, and look at some of the set photos.
Gio, who do you think he's playing?
I don't want to say Mr. T's son.
I bet you he's not. I'll throw your name out there. I bet you he's playing Adonis's brother.
Ooh, that is sexy. Damn. Wow. Talk about like family.
Adonis's brother.
The brother
they're on opposite ends of the ring.
And this is the brother that like the dad loved.
Yeah,
essentially.
Adonis's brother from another mother.
Yep.
Woo. I mean, they're clearly different. They're so different weight classes. Jonathan
doesn't matter. Who cares?
Oh man.
So was Drago in Creed. Come on, who cares?
Bro,
who cares?
this is like Floyd Mayweather versus Mike Tyson. Like,
all right. So moving on from Thanksgiving weekend,
you did forget a movie for Thanksgiving weekend. Disney Plus. Disenchanted comes out that weekend.
Oh, okay.
It comes out
schedule. I apologize.
On Thanksgiving.
Cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's the sequel to Enchanted. Amy Adams and who is McDreamy? What's his name?
Patrick Dempsey.
Patrick Dempsey.
Yeah,
excuse me.
Yeah.
They're returning. James Marsden also back. I mean, the first movie was like almost like a cult classic in a way. There's no doubt this movie's gonna crush. Once
my mom is so excited for this.
Yeah, this movie's gonna crush. The movie's 100% gonna crush.
Yeah.
Okay, moving into December. Let's go ahead and wrap this up as quick as we can, gentlemen. There's only really two major movies to talk about, but quickly, there's a movie coming out called Violent Night on December 2nd, which is the first weekend of December. But then we go ahead and move to December 16th, which, Gio, we cannot spend 20 minutes on this, please.
We spent 20 minutes on Thor,
But
Love and Thunder.
It's the final release of Avatar: The Way of Water. We are finally getting an Avatar sequel. It is officially hitting theaters December 16th. Gio, the floor is yours for as quick as you possibly can be.
Look, okay, I'm not gonna, rehash.
Oh, we lost him. Damn it.
You're mean. Let him talk.
Oh, he's gonna be eating his words. and everything when he watches this movie. Okay, like,
I love how Brian thought that was actually real for a second.
I did for a second. I went, wait, no. And then I went,
Messed
oh,
up.
that's
Gio, go
weird.
ahead. You're fine. You're fine.
No, all I'm gonna say is James Cameron. Okay, you can say whatever you want. Okay, it took 10 years, whatever, to make this movie and whatnot. Even though the entire world, the language, the speed, everything is from the mind of James Cameron. But you know what? It's like
I'm happy for these people.
if
I'm happy for
if
these
you
people.
haven't rewatch the trailer again, okay, and put down your phone when you're watching the trailer. Okay, put down the plate with a fork and when you're watching the trailer.
It came up
Stop
before
folding the
Lightyear.
laundry and pay attention, okay, to it. All right, it's James Cameron. It's a sequel, which we know how James Cameron is with sequels. And the fact that he had to invent new technology because mocap underwater doesn't exactly work very well before James Cameron decided to reinvent the technology. Look, I'm going to be there opening night. I'm going to watch this movie. General audiences are going to watch
Gio,
this
I'm going to
movie,
be there
okay?
with you, man, because I'm probably going to buy your ticket for it. So,
Hey, awesome. So, yeah.
you're not going to
Avatar-
respond to a text message, and I'm going to be like, oh, but he's probably really going to want to see this movie in IMAX. I should buy him a ticket. You know, I'll just be nice.
I just hope IMAX theaters can be able to present the movie in a way that James Cameron shot the movie and made the movie. So, yeah, Avatar, watch it.
I don't want to say I'm keeping my expectations low because I mean, obviously, it's going to be.
I'm like this.
incredible.
I'm like this right now.
I think I'm personally just leaving it kind of like where it lies in the sense that I hopefully just get like blown away, you know, like if that makes sense, where I'm just
Like the first movie.
Yeah, but I was also like, what? 15
2009,
now?
Brian. 2009.
Yeah, that's a while ago. So I think it was still a teenager. Right? So it's I'm just I have no doubt this movie will probably just kick ass and be incredible, but at this point, I'm just kind of like,
Okay, Gio, really? I'm going to get copyrighted. Jesus.
don't get copyright.
It's like 3 seconds.
Look, no, as much as I give crap for this movie being 14 years too late, or 13 years, the first Avatar was a total like digital and just visual feat. The movie did fantastic, and the story was great, and it's James Cameron. Like you really can't argue against James Cameron. I just come from a place of being extremely frustrated that we haven't seen a James Cameron film since 2009. Like it is very frustrating that this movie has taken this long to be made. Multiple delays, and obviously the studio switch from Fox to Disney, and there's a lot of things that come into play. But I'll still be there opening night. I'm still gonna watch it. I don't know. It comes from a place of like, is it too little too late to release 3 or 4 more movies? And I hope that it absolutely blows me away. That's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping it's one of the best movies I've seen over the last couple years. I know that it's going to be visually stunning. I know that because that's what James Cameron sets out to do. But is the actual film going to actually blow me away? That's what I'm hoping for. So I'll be there sitting right next to Gio opening night. I'll even place our tickets next to each other. So
you're gonna
if it
literally
is great
sit next to him.
So if it is great, he can throw it on my face. I'll prove it. I'll post a picture December 15th, Thursday night that weekend. So
he might not want to sit next to you. At this
no,
point.
it doesn't sound like he wants to. So
No, I
all
will
right.
say, real quick, 7-year difference between Alien and Aliens. 8-year difference between Terminator and Terminator 2. So we'll see.
Well, to the Aliens reference, 2 different directors for the first 2 films, my guy. Just saying. Got
Aliens
him.
is better. Aliens
And
is better.
it is better. You're right. It is better, but that is
Thank
a
you.
big
Wow.
difference.
We
Two
agree on
different
one
directors.
thing. Okay, there we go.
All right, and then moving into the second to last weekend of December, we have December 21st, which is considered Christmas weekend. We have I Want to Dance with Somebody. Don't know what that is. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which is the Shrek spinoff, and then the big one, Shazam: Fury of the Gods, DC's last film of that year, the sequel to the Zachary Levi film, and David F. Sandberg, who is coming back to direct as well. Look, I mean, out of the DC films from this year, this is the one I'm looking forward to the most. I think Shazam was such a great, delightful surprise to many people. And this one has really amped up on the cast. I mean, you have Helen Mirren, you have Lucy Liu, among many others, joining this cast. They're looking to really dive into that mythology with the Shazam family. And if they keep the same,
little kids get killed, though.
I know, right? And if they stick with the same tone and vibe of the first movie, I don't see why there's any reason why it wouldn't do just as well. I think Zachary Levi is pretty much perfectly casted for the role of Shazam, and if they're able to really capture what that first one brought, I should have a great time with this one. So, gentlemen, what do you think?
I'm excited for this one as well.
I'm with you. Just the first official photo that they released is the Shazam family, and the costumes got an upgrade. Remember, that was a big criticism of the first movie, is how puffy the Zachary Levi. This one, it's like Man of Steel vibes.
It's night and day difference.
Yeah, 100%. And then the fact that you have Lucy Liu, who I haven't seen on a big screen in a long, I can't remember the last time I've seen
Charlie's
Lucy Liu
Angels. It feels like
Lucy Liu.
Yeah, on the big screen.
She
can't remember the last time.
She was in something. Look it up.
I was looking it up for you.
Right. Go ahead, Gio.
Go ahead. No, just everything that I'm seeing so far makes me even more excited.
Charlie's Angels.
And then, of course, anybody who follows David Sandberg on Twitter and all the tweets that he does and how he pokes fun of other DC movies and whatnot, he's a fun person to follow. But I have all the confidence in this sequel, building off the first one. I hope that this begins to set up the crossing of the paths between Shazam and Black Adam. It will be a darker movie. And that's all that can be said right now. I still don't know if Sinbad is going to be in the movie or not. If that was just a DC fandom prank, or that was so weird, but
I think he's in it.
Hey, I love
I'm gonna look it up.
You're right, Gio. I forgot how much better these costumes look.
Yeah, they look so much better. And I'm just like, if Warner, because the first movie, Warner Bros. is like, okay, we'll give you some money to make this movie, but like after it being a hit, why not give it more money and increase the production value? So,
yeah. It doesn't have Sinbad on the actual cast list at the moment. But I didn't realize, and maybe I knew obviously going in when it was officially announced, but West Side Story's own Rachel Zegler is also in the movie.
Yeah.
Which I completely forgot about or maybe just overlooked. I mean, the cast is pretty ridiculous. God. Yeah, she's playing Atlas alongside Lucy Liu's Calypso and then Helen Mirren's Hespera.
Yep.
On top of Djimon Hounsou returning, Zachary Levi, Grace Fulton, Jack Dylan Glazer, Asher Angel, Megan Good, Adam Brody. Yeah. I mean, the cast is ridiculous. It's a DJ Catrona, who plays one of the grown-up versions of Shazam family. The cast is bonkers good. So
Atlas is on IMDb as a dude. Rachel Zegler's is blank.
I have it currently that she's playing Atlas, one of the three gods.
She's playing one of the gods.
Yeah, no, I'm pulling up a cast list right now.
Are you on IMDb though?
No, I'm not on. But IMDb is a fan-made website, which is why I kind of.
It has Derek Russo as Atlas.
And for the love of God, if you're gonna put Superman in the movie, don't.
I just love on
neck down.
I love that on IMDb. There's a woman and her cast character is Drunk Girl.
I mean, I would love to be called Drunk Girl for a movie.
Can we really quickly hit the 4 movies that we didn't, because they don't actually have a date but are still supposed to come out this year?
What's up
for it? Just quickly.
Glass Onion.
Oh yeah, Knives Out.
Oh, Ryan Johnson, of course. Come on, Dave Bautista.
Extraction 2.
And a lot of Daniel Craig, obviously.
I'm guessing these are all Netflix films.
No. Oh, Maybe. Actually, I don't. Now that I look at it, I'm not sure. I just literally looked at a thing. I personally am excited for the Tetris movie. I'm very curious to see how that.
Yeah, I mean, I
That's
need to
still
see
coming out
footage.
this year.
I need to see footage of it first.
And
but Glass Onion and Extraction 2 sign me the F up. Hardcore.
And this one especially, Killers of the Flower Moon.
Oh, yes, the
Wow.
Martin
Leonardo
Scorsese
DiCaprio
film. Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio
one.
film. Good call, Brian.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. Scorsese films always get like a super late announcement on when they're coming out.
Yeah, 'cause he always does it
It's
right
probably
before-
going to be. I would say it's probably going to be pushed to like late November, early December for awards. That's
Yeah.
probably when we'll see it.
100%.
But I mean, Scorsese films are obviously no brainers, whether you like them or not. Every time the one comes out, it's one of those movies you just have to go see. Scorsese,
Clemens.
yeah, Scorsese and you know Tarantino and Fincher and just those guys. Whenever a movie of theirs comes out, you just boom come out.
I'm
Rachel,
excited
this
for-
is a good call too. There's a George Clooney, Julia Roberts rom-com that comes out this year as well that hasn't really had any announcement. Yeah, I forgot about that. So good call.
Where have the rom-coms been? The last
I
couple
do
of
miss
years?
the rom-coms. They've kind of died as of late.
It's because they overdid it in the early mid
2000s.
Well, Matthew
100%.
McConaughey to go back to his roots.
Seriously.
I mean,
Every-
not gonna lie. Ghost of Girlfriend's Past, Failure to Launch, love them.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
10 days.
How to Lose Guys in 10. I love them. Love those.
I'm
movies
very
for sure.
excited. I'll say really. I know I'm very excited for the Glass Onion strictly
Me
for
too.
that cast.
Me too. I agree.
Yeah, Daniel.
That
Craig.
cast is bonkers. The cast might be even better than the first movie. It's freaking ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, and to know that it's kind of like his version of the Murder and the Orient Express films, and he's just taking.
They poop on those movies.
Oh, they're so much better, but he's just taking his creative freedom and turning it up to 11. So, yeah, again, another Netflix property, and hopefully that gets a theater release. All right, gentlemen, well there it is. We went way over time.
extra long episode tonight.
There's the second half of 2022 and all the movies that we're looking forward to. We wanted to talk about a lot of big movies coming out for the next 6 months. We're very excited. We'll be talking about them all here on Apocaflix, doing reviews, maybe even some side videos for stuff that maybe not on the main show. Yeah, a lot of stuff coming our way.
Who
very,
knows?
very
Maybe
exciting.
we'll see Jurassic Park at some point.
Maybe we'll see Jurassic Park and Lightyear and
I saw that
Elvis
one.
and all these movies that are coming out right now. Maybe we will see those eventually. But for now, that's going to wrap up tonight's show, Apocaflix Now. To everyone who's watching currently, thank you guys so much. Stick around. Don't leave just yet because we have some quick plugs on where you can find us elsewhere. Quickly, Gio, where can they find you online?
Of course, you guys can find me on Twitter at FandomUnited21, Apocaflix Now on Tuesdays. Fandolorian Club is on a break right now until
There it is.
Right? Next
Nice late August.
Late August. So yeah, a little bit of a break, 2 months. Of course, Fandom United, where you can hear me talk about things I've heard as far as Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and all these other things. So check me out.
A certain point of view.
I didn't
if
call
you're
you,
into
Brian. What if I wanted to go?
The Schmodown. You can follow me
like how
on
you just
Twitter at
ignored
Via
me.
Follicino. And last time I got yelled at, are we doing Marvel Rewind tomorrow?
I think so.
Well, maybe we'll.
Last week wasn't your fault. Last week was not your fault. It was
but you
my fault.
sassed me when
It was my fault. It was my fault.
So maybe Marvel Rewind tomorrow. Check Twitter.
It'll either be tomorrow or Thursday. Everybody, just chill. Starter, nobody cares about the flipping Blue Jays. Go away.
He's saying that because they're playing the Red Sox.
Okay, well, go Blue Jays. You can find me on POV with Brian each and every week. We're talking everything that is the movie trivia showdown. Like Brian said, Marvel Rewind is weekly where we are covering everything that is Miss Marvel. The show is fantastic and we love talking about it. We have some really cool theories on stuff. Go check out last week's episode specifically. A lot of cool conversation from that one.
We went off on a tangent.
Major tangent. And like Gio said, the Fandalorian Club will be back when Andor comes back in August, which will leave us with some very, very cool stuff to talk about when it comes to Star Wars. And if you're interested, go ahead, Gio. What?
No, go ahead. And then I'll ask you afterwards.
If you're interested, I also have my own channel called The Whiskey Jedi, where I don't only do just shows that revolve around reviewing whiskey and talking about topics that I love to talk about with some friends, but I also am rewatching currently both the MCU and Star Wars with my fiance who has never seen them.
Nice.
She has never seen the prequel Star Wars films. The Phantom Menace is up on the channel now. You can see our reaction, which is fantastic. And Attack of the Clones should be coming out here in the next week or so. And I can't wait to get to those. So check those out. I'd love the support. Thank you guys so much for joining us as always. Gio, what was the final word?
I'll tell you. I'll ask you off screen.
Oh my God, terrible.
Avatar 2. Go watch it in theaters.
I'm going to remove you from the stream. Thank you so much, everybody. Hope you guys have a great night, and we'll catch you guys next week.